And I want to kind of introduce a certain principle. We have had an open forum, and everybody can ask any question at any time that it comes into his mind. And as a result of that, there are many times that the question is really out of kilter, and it results in unpleasantness, both in disturbing of the class and in terms of the way it's being responded to. And it's unpleasant for both, for the responder and to the respondee. So here is a very simple principle to maintain. The truth is, questions are definitely welcome as long as they are on target, as long as they're exactly on topic that we're talking about. If you ask questions, very good questions, but they're off topic, it shows two things. You're not really learning, and you're not really involved in what we're learning. You're in your own things, and you want to know that a certain piece of information is fine, and it's a valid piece of information, but involved in this, when you're learning, you have to be involved in what you're learning. And to answer questions that are off topic is very disrupting and very disappointing. Who am I talking to? Are people here, or are they dreaming in their own world? It makes it as I said, it results in unpleasantness. And the answers are not really complete. They're not what they should be to those questions and so forth. Therefore, I would suggest the following. I would ask for the following. Any question that comes up is probably a valid question in general terms. Hold it off until after class. I've had instances, people came to me after class, came to my house, and I can sit, any duration of time necessary to clear things up, as long as it's not disrupting the class, and as long as it does not kind of have a negative impression that you're not really involved in what we're learning. You're involved in your own thinking. That's very disappointing. One of the principles of learning in general, particularly in Hasidus, which requires sensitive, deep thought, you have to bring the whole neshama into this. And if you're not there, there's no way you're going to understand what we're talking about. This is all. Okay, on top of page Ches. Again, the principal point that is being discussed and brought out to a certain degree of detail is that the differences between the various aspects and as of the moment we're talking about worlds, distinction between one world and another world. So normally, when we start distinguishing between madreges, we identify the difference in terms of closer and further, higher and lower, in terms of the amount and the brightness of the oil that is coming through in this world. And the Rebbe, the past couple of pages, is spending an enormous amount of effort and time to explain to us that this is not the whole story. And actually the principal distinguisher between madreges and madreges is not what the madrege actually experiences and what it contains, but actually in its essential definition, what it is about and how it is conceived in the source. It's what's called the etzem mahuso. And we discussed many times the word etzem is an extremely powerful word, and we really have to find in our sense of truth, sense of neshama, of life, the principle of etzem. Because etzem is not something that can be identified by one kind of an experience or another. Etzem is the essential truth itself. As for example, which we didn't bring up yet, but it will come up sooner or later, particularly the Rabbi spoke about rotzen, will. The will to live is not definable by saying he wants to live so that he would have a chance to eat ice cream or chocolate, or he will learn something. Life, the principle of life, is not synonymous with the experience of life. I think it's clear. We discussed it many times, so I don't want to elaborate too much, too long on this. Now on top of page Ches. Hine, behold, kishem shehoi lomeis. I once explained the word behine, which is translated behold, which is a correct translation. What does the word behold mean? Behold means observe. Behold does not mean, listen to me, I'm going to explain something to you. No, that doesn't mean that. Observe. If it's a question of observation, so why do I need to be told? I observe whatever there is to observe. The answer is, it's not necessarily true. There are things in front of our nose, and we fail to identify to focus on what we actually see. Vehine means behold. Here I'm going to show you something that you actually see, but you on your own you will fail to identify that you see it and its significance. Like you mentioned the other day, not the day before one, you said that occasionally you're learning something and you have difficulty in relating to understanding it, and then you have a long debate, and finally it strikes you and say, oh yeah, of course, I always knew it. If you always knew it, why did I have to go through all that debating and that difficulty? Because sometimes you always know, but you don't know what you know. And one of the reasons, I might as well complete the whole thought, that you don't know what you know, is that you have something that you're experiencing, that you've identified as a practical thing that you get involved with, and that covers up any other insight that you have internal. And you start thinking on this surface deep level, and everything you try to fit into that surface deep view, until finally something breaks through and says, that is not what it's about. Oh yeah, I always knew it. I always knew it, but I was distracted from it. So vehine means behold. I'm going to show you something that you always know. But unless I make you look at it, you will not know it. You will not see it. Kishem shehoilom es mechulokim be'etzem mahusam. Just as the words are distinct, be'etzem mahusam, their distinction is not in their capacity, so to speak, but in their pardon me, in the reality of their being. Etzem mahusam. Etzem mahusam, how we can translate it in perhaps in more practical terms, what justifies their existence? That's a valid question, because everything that exists exists by divine license, permission. They're not there because they made their way into it. Everything exists because there's divine identification justifying their presence. This divine justification is called etzem. They have, you use the reality, they have a real presence. They're distinct be'etzem mahusam. The worlds are fundamentally different. B'v'chinas, at the aspect of ha'oir v'ha'gilui shebahem kanal, of the oir and gilui, the oir eliki, and the gilui, and the revelation that is contained in these worlds. Every world has its distinct oir v'gilui. Oir v'gilui here means the presence of the etzem, the divine presence. So just as this is true in oilameis, similarly, hu behasfiras biprat. It is similarly true in spheres on a detailed level. Shemchulokim gamkim be'etzem mahusam. The spheres are also distinct be'etzem mahusam, an essential definition of their presence. It is not only their capacity, not only their effect, but the very fact of their existence distinguishes them one from the other. As for example, b'bchinas chochma bina, in the aspect of chochma and bina, which are very common principles, we discuss it a lot. We all know certain aspects of a way of identifying chokhmah versus bin. Hine, behold, if we think about this chokhmah and bina, we will realize the following. Ha-chokhmah be'etzem hi lemayla mehasoga. The chokhmah, in essence, is above hasoga. In other words, the chokhmah is if you don't comprehend fully the chokhmah, it's not due to the fact that you did not make an effort. It is in essence above hasoga, above comprehension, above grasp. Hasoga means grasp. Let's understand for a moment the principle of grasp. We said yesterday, the day before, a simple illustration of common experience. You are in somebody's home.
Wait, this is to explain beyond grasp?
What?
We're now looking at the concept beyond the grasp.
You're looking at the concept of grasp. Then we can go to above beyond grasp. What is grasp? Hasoga. I said, when you're in somebody's home, you know this is his home. And we respect the home because of the fact that this is his home. And you have seen, you've been in this home while the proprietor was there. But the owner was there. Even though you had that experience, nonetheless, when he is absent, your relationship to the home changes. Why is that? You've seen him already. You've experienced his presence. Why is he not there now? You know exactly what he looks like. You know exactly how he acts. You know exactly where he sits, what he does. Why is he not there now? And the answer is, you cannot have an hasoga. You cannot grasp the etzem. You can know him, but you cannot take him with you. He remains where he is. And as a matter of fact, his truth is there where he is. That which you know and you can remember and take with you is not him. This is his aspects and so forth. This is not him. This is not his essence. And this is so true to the extent when he is absent, you miss him. You're in his home. This is the principle of etzem. And this is the principle of hasoga. Hasoga means to grasp something. Once you grasp it, it goes with you wherever you go. Chokhmah is above hasoga. Chokhmah be'etzem is l'maala me'hasoga. What does it mean? No matter how much you understand and you experience the chokhmah, the minute you lose it, you lose it. You cannot take it with you. It defies hasoga. Stop for a moment. Do we understand this? Hello? Because we're going further into this. Okay. Yes or no? Rabbi Akiva says yes and no.
Not completely.
Huh?
Not completely.
Okay. So what do you understand? And let's see if Shlominus or Shmuel can fill it in with you.
Actually, my question is earlier when we spoke about reality as we were talking about what the essence is, and he spoke about it as presence, and I always thought that this presence was or, and essence is beyond or. And in this context, you gave essence a presence description.
If it were only presence, then why can't you grasp it and take it with you?
Okay, so that in that case, you're saying that presence doesn't really identify.
So we have to. Words are sometimes, not sometimes, most of the time, limited to a certain narrow definition. They don't encompass the entire thought. When you talk about presence of essence, We mean the reality of essence, not presence as I experience it. Not the experience of it, but its reality, it's being there. The experience you can remember, but the reality you cannot have. So you're right, and the reason this confusion grows out is because you have to use the same word and really mean a different implication of the word. Presence in this case does not mean awareness, but means the reality of its being. Okay? Right. So Chochmah and Bina are mecholokim be'etzem mahusa. They're distinct and different in the very essence of their being. You cannot explain the principle that Chochmah cannot be grasped and Bina can be grasped, not because of their functional element. So we say like this, the third line, something third line. Hine, ha-chochmah be'etzem hi l'mala ma'hasog. Chochmah in essence is above hasog. When we say it's in essence above hasoga, it means, as we shall see, it's above hasoga, but you cannot explain why that is. Hagam, although shebechol mokoim, that anywhere bechinas hachochma hi bechinas idea. I would think that Chol Mokum here should have been Mikol Mokum. I'm almost quite certain that this Bechol Mokum should be Mikol Mokum. However he slides it, Chochmah is B'chinas Yidiyah. Chochmah is in the realm of Yidiyah, of knowledge. Loi l'maylo me'ata v'hadas legamri. Not totally above reason and knowledge. Let's say the word tam in this context. The word tam means taste. We use the word tam in a very superficial, in a borrowed form, explaining the reason for something. Why do you do that? Why do you eat? Because I'm hungry. It's like a tam. The truth is that this explanation, I eat because I'm hungry, is a very poor representation of the real phenomenon of eating. I'm not eating because I'm hungry. Hunger only reminds me that I have to eat. But I'm eating because it's a must. By definition, in my creation, I have to eat. So we use the word tam, but that's a very, so to speak, superficial use of the word tam. The real word tam is what you taste, like you taste something. Tasting something is the taste of something exists only when you are in a direct connection with it. You cannot look at something and taste it. You can taste it only if you put it in your mouth and actually bite into it. It becomes part of you. Pardon me. Chochmah is above tam. You cannot identify its taste. Because in order to taste, you have to be able to absorb it. It should become yours. and it cannot be into Chachma. Although you are actually observing it, and you appreciate observing it. But the only way to relate to Chachma is by relating to it rather than taking it into you. This is why one of the prerequisites of Chokhmah is bittul. Step out of yourself, and then you will see the Chokhmah. As long as you are into yourself, you're not going to see the Chokhmah. So far, so good?
Well, this last piece is
challenging, right? Who wants to step out of himself? Yep, we're not used to that at all. Not used to that at all. But this is the real you. This is the real life force in a person. Okay, third line again. Ha-chokhmah be'etzem le'mala me'hasok. The chokhmah in essence is above hasok, above comprehension. Hagam, although. Again, she'b'chol mokim, b'chol mokim, b'chinas ha-chokhmah, b'chinas yidiyah. Chokhmah is within the realm of yidiyah, awareness and knowledge. What does it mean, b'chinas yidiyah? It is not totally above tam, taste and reason, and das, and awareness and knowledge.
We're saying it's not above tam completely.
It's not totally.
Right.
Lagamri. It's not totally above tam and das. K'moi b'chinas ha-keser, as the aspect of the keser, etzem, where the chesed etzem is l'maylo shelemaylo matam v'das l'gamri. Chesed is above tam v'das. Chesed is totally above some kind of discernment. What it is that you want, what it is that you appreciate. You cannot even identify that you appreciate something. Tam v'das, l'maylo matam v'das. Let us put this in perspective for a moment. How does a person have something as l'mayla mitavadas? If it's l'mayla mitavadas, which means, how did I acquire it? How did a person get something as l'mayla mitavadas? This is one of the big hang-ups by us. Yes. You start thinking, how did I get to it? You start figuring out how I got to it. If it is something that you got to, it's not l'mayla mitavadas. And this is one of our tendencies. Our tendencies, particularly due to experience in the world, particularly due to our secular education, we always tend to try to think, okay, I know it, how did I get to know it? Prove it to me. How did I get to know it? So the Rebbe is telling you there is something that you know and you don't know how you got to know it. There's no way for you to know how you got to know. How did you in fact get to know it? It's a divine presence in you. A gift in the neshama. The chokhmah is something which is not a developed function. Chokhmah is l'maylo. Chokhmah is l'maylo mehasoga, but l'maylo tam v'das tam. Not above tam v'das. In other words, Chokhmah is with bechinas idiyah. There is a process by which you become aware of your Chokhmah. Lo l'maylo metam v'das l'gamri. The Gamri means altogether. There is a process by which we become aware of it, but nonetheless, it's not because of Hasod, not through Hasod. And here is the subtle distinction. And again, the only way to relate to it is by recognizing that, yes, indeed, we have this type of awareness. Something that we're fully aware of, but we don't know how. We can't grasp it. This is called Chokh. We gave one time a challenging question. How do you know it's a challenging question? Because I had instances where people said, yeah, I don't understand what's so terrible about that. I said, you pack up all your needs for 70 years, for 100 years, 20 years, into a capsule, and send the capsule out into space. Now you can float in space without any challenges, and you'll never feel any absence, any need. How would you relate to this experience? Would you think it's an acceptable experience? Or would you say it's a horrible experience? Which one? What would you be missing?